in Cleveland with 2-hour specials on ESPN. In-depth tapes, next-level analysis, and all the latest news from the 2021 NFL Draft. Don't miss it. Can't wait for the draft. We're back here on NFL Live with Adam Schefter. Let's get to some top NFL stories of the day, Adam. We begin with the latest on Bills quarterback Josh Allen.
Well, Laura, today the Bills general manager Brandon Beane said all contract discussions with Josh Allen would wait until after the draft. So allow me to break the news right here. The Bills are expected to pick up the 5th-year contract option on Josh Allen. Shocker there, I know. Real shocker. But they'll pick up that option and then set out to do a contract extension for Josh Allen. And how about the Los Angeles Rams? They don't have a first-round draft pick, but they do have this as their draft headquarters. This is real. They rented a house in Malibu for the week where they're setting up shop to do the NFL draft. Look, teams did the draft at home last year. This will be the Rams' home this year in Malibu, overlooking the ocean. Tremendous space for the NFL draft. And earlier today, the Buccaneers re-signed Tom Brady's wingman, Ryan Griffin, best known not for being a backup quarterback in Tampa, but helping Tom Brady off the boat, carrying him to safety, making sure that Tom Brady was safe. Ryan Griffin right there in the white shirt, making sure Tom Brady gets where he needs to go. I mean, what more valuable trait do you need than that right there? That qualified for that contract extension that he got from the Buccaneers today, Laura.
I mean, Adam, we could all only be so lucky if we could have a wingman just like Ryan Griffin, right? I'm still looking for a wingwoman, wingman, anything. Dan's raising his hand, but Adam, we're not letting him in. Nope, Dan, bye-bye. All right, elsewhere in the NFC South, the Saints have the 28th pick of the draft, and it's one of the more intriguing spots night one. Just 9 days away. No doubt next season is a chance for New Orleans and Sean Payton to figure out what they have in Jameis Winston in the post-Drew Brees era. So how can they help him in the draft? Well, either way, Winston says he's ready to go no matter what's coming his way.
I went from being the number one draft pick to being everybody laugh at me. But guess what? I'm about that business. I'm outworking everybody at my position. I know that right here, right? But I'm doing I'm doing things every single day. Commit to the dream, because that's the thing. We have to go back to being little kids about this football game, because this is a kids game that men play.
You know, Dan, as you were watching that, you're saying, I love this. Yeah. What should the goal be for the Saints this season, and why do you love what Jameis is saying there?
I love the video because it's just another example that Jameis is really growing up. Like, he's maturing, and you heard him say, like, the reality of, I went from being the number one pick to everyone laughing at me, but it hasn't affected him. He's still on his grind. So that's why I love that, and shout out to Jameis for that. The Saints have the challenge of winning football games this year, but also figuring out who and what Jameis Winston is at quarterback. Now, they can't do that the way their offensive roster is presently constructed. I don't think people realize how much offense they actually lost. Jared Cook and Emmanuel Sanders are gone. That's about 100 catches, 1,300 yards, and 12 touchdowns from last season. So it's really Michael Thomas and then Traquan Smith, who had about 400 yards. So Jameis Winston brings the talent or the ability to push the ball downfield more. They just don't have the pieces to do it because of the loss of Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook. So for them to figure out what Jameis Winston is, they need to get something offensive weapon-wise to help him do that.
Yeah, I agree. And Dan, those losses, next time someone says the cap isn't real when talking about these teams, the cap is very real. Yep. And it's why Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, Trey Hendrickson, on the other side of the ball, Janoris Jenkins, Sheldon. I mean, the list goes on of guys that the Saints have had to part ways with. I think corner, speaking of Janoris Jenkins, is a position they'll target in the draft. But I also think, as you said, wide receiver is so key for this offense because they need a number 2 to Michael Thomas. I really like Elijah Moore. I don't want to miss seeing here for them. 1,200 yards in 8 games. He is a tackle-breaking monster, yards after the catch. I can only imagine what Sean Payton would do with him. But he also has speed. Ran a 4.32 40. He can get downfield. We know Jameis Winston can throw the football downfield. So to me, Kadarius Toney's another good option. There's a bunch of wide receivers in that second tier that New Orleans should consider drafting.
Yeah, the good thing for New Orleans is that it's a really deep wide receiver class, and apparently Lenny Kimes is a really big Saints fan. Let's continue. In the NFC South, get Adam Schefter back in here with a little more. And Adam, the Panthers made the trade, of course, for Sam Darnold earlier this month, so quarterback really not a need for them. What are their plans with the 8th overall pick?
And Laura, they may not be done trading just yet. The Panthers have had some conversations with other teams about trading out of the number 8 spot, moving back in the draft. Now, look, we are just over a week away from the draft. This is standard operating procedure right now. There are a lot of conversations going on between a lot of teams checking in to trade and gauge the availability of certain picks in certain spots. But Carolina has demonstrated it is open to moving back for the right offer. We'll see whether one comes along in the next week, but the Panthers have listened to offers for pick number 8.
Yeah, we keep talking about 7, 8, 9 being just a really interesting flex moment in the draft, and the Panthers right in the thick of that. How about a little trivia as we head to break? Peyton Manning, Ed Reed, Daniel Cormier, the big swagoo. We'll give you one guess as to what these great names have in common. The answer is coming up next on NFL Live. Put your thinking caps on. This one's kind of tough. We'll be right back.